What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? Hmm, Just kind of getting this set up and seeing what it is. Um, just woke up a little while ago. Just kind of feeling a certain way. So I'm sure a lot of people are. Um, I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico, on vacation. Uh, just getting some tranquilo time, some zen time, to myself. This trip is actually my graduation present to myself. I've been wanting to go somewhere for a while. Uh, considered places. Thought about maybe Mexico. A year ago, a little over a year ago, I was thinking maybe Japan. Um, but I decided not to do that, and that was before COVID and everything. That was before I actually graduated. So I just decided to wait and just do something simple. So I came to Albuquerque. Drove through here some years ago on a road trip with uh with the wife and kids in 2008. We were on a road trip to Arizona. I think we stayed for like a week, but we drove through New Mexico. We stopped in Albuquerque. I think we had like lunch at like a Popeyes or something. So I probably only had like French fries or some shit there. um, but then we stopped at like a market, I think a flea market. Nah, I bought like a acoustic guitar. It's like the first acoustic guitar I bought. And that was in Albuquerque. I don't know. There was just something about the vibe here that made me always kind of want to come back. So I'm finally back, just chilling. Um, go outside. I go to the plaza. I read. I go to like a little cafe or something. Eat outside. So just getting some chill time. Uh, be back in Chicago in a couple of days. Right back in it. Um, and see what's what. Um, people here are friendly, and it's just kind of cool to just do my own thing for a second. Just kind of get away from the home base. Looking forward to getting back to the home base, but sometimes it's cool to get out there and see some other shit, do some other shit, to refresh and everything. Of course, it's something I would recommend that everybody do. Um, but yeah, this morning I'm kind of feeling a certain way. I've been feeling a certain way lately, and I don't know. I don't know if I need to say what some of the stuff I'm about to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway, just to put it out there so that there's no confusion, because I don't want nobody being confused about like what I feel on some of the shit that's going on in this country and the history of it. Um, First of all, I want to say that last year during the protest and everything, there were a lot of people that reached out to me. I was posting a lot of stuff about how I felt. Um, just how I felt about some of the shit that was going on last year after the George Floyd killing by the by Derek Chauvin and the three other cops that just stood there and let him squeeze the life out of George Floyd while George Floyd begged for his life when it was their duty to preserve his life while he was in their custody. Um, when I first saw that footage, I saw a little bit of it one day, and then the next day I saw like well, most of the video, and I think that was when a lot of us saw most of that particular video, and You know, it fucked me up just like it fucked up a lot of other people, you know, in the States as well as around the world. As we watched this uniformed police officer squeeze the life out of a suspect that was in his custody, a suspect that was begging for his life. So why there was any fucking debate on Chauvin's guilt, you know, I really didn't understand that, but I understand, you know, the legal process has to play out. No, you know, I ain't got no issues with that. Yeah. Um, but one of the things I feel like I want to say, I don't feel like I have to say it, but I want to say it, because I feel like people might be trying to mistake some of the shit I say, or they might have some misconceptions about how I feel about some of this shit. Um, I've witnessed the heroism displayed by police officers over the years. You know, I definitely have. You know, I'm a licensed captain, 100-ton master, you know, to operate motor vessels on the Great Lakes and inland waters of the United States up to 100 gross tons. So, in being a licensed captain by the Coast Guard and driving a tour boat with passengers on it and being responsible for the lives of the people that were aboard my vessel, there are many times where, yeah, I have to interact with police officers. And also, I worked with people that wanted to be police officers or that were police officers or were, you know, relatives of police officers. There's a police officer in my family, you know, see him at all the family reunions and everything. He's pretty much the main grill master a lot of times, or the main photographer too, when we need to take the family group photo shots. I in no way am ever getting on here trying to say that like you know, I don't know, because some of these issues are kind of nuanced, but I'll just say it on here. I'm not here telling people to go out there and like fuck with cops, you know, to just go out there and indiscriminately fuck with cops, like some cops indiscriminately fuck with people within the community that they are swore oath to serve and protect. And I also recognize the difficulty in the profession of being a police officer. I'm not a police officer, but I recognize how fucking hard their job is and some of the decisions they need to make and how they you know they want to get home to their families and all that. And I you know I respect all that. But what I don't respect in any regard is this I feel like there are a lot of people, there are a lot of police officers or there are a lot of, you know, Blue Lives Matter sympathizers that are basically trying to put forth this like this idea that people that are against bad cops, murderous cops, bullying ass cops, corrupt ass cops, like saying if we're against them, then somehow we're against all cops. And see, I feel like there's a couple of ways we got to look at this. First of all, if you're a cop and there are bad cops on your force and you are aware that there are bad cops on your force, there are criminal cops on your force, maybe there are cops that they you know that they have cases that have been brought against them for you know misconduct or overstepping, using like too much force, you know, police brutality. People have been talking about police brutality forever. So to say that like if we bring up those matters that we're somehow against the entire idea of police, see, it's like a complicated issue. I grew up in the projects, Stateway Gardens, lived in Stateway Gardens till I was about 15, lived in Inglewood for about 6 years after that. And you know, looking back on that experience, yeah, I'm glad that police officers existed. I feel like, yeah, the my experience in those areas probably would have been. I mean, it was fucked up. I ain't gonna lie about that. People that live in the hood, they and have dealt with gang violence and drugs and shit. They know it's fucked up. But here's the thing: police officers are paid to serve and protect the communities, not to look at the communities with this like broad like stroke, kind of like everybody in the fucking communities are fucking potential criminals that we just got to go in there and fucking bust upside the head and shit. And we already know there are a lot of cops that feel this fucking way. So if you're a good cop and you got officers on your force that have this fucking attitude, or they have been engaged in criminal activity in some regard, if police officers aren't trying to root out the criminal cops within their own organization with the same fucking intensity that a lot of them run up in these communities to shoot people, then you're not a fucking good cop. You know, they're criminal cops. We are aware of this, but I feel like you got a lot of people that are talking about, what do you mean? Come on, the cops. We need to respect them and all this shit. I have the utmost respect for the heroism that I have witnessed police officers display. I have had to call police officers for shit that's going down on some of the boats and have them maybe waiting at the docks and everything. Or some shit, if we knew some shit was going to go down on the boat, we knew that maybe like we could go up to, if we knew there was an officer, there was a passenger on board, that we could go up to them and maybe depend on them to help us in the case of some serious shit that might go down on the boats, because shit has gone down over the years. A couple of years ago, I think it was at the 4th of July at Navy Pier. There were the stabbings, and people thought there was they actually thought there was like shooting, so there was like a stampede on Navy Pier. We were bringing the boat back into the dock, and I'm seeing all these people run around. I wasn't driving, I was training someone, so someone else was driving. And we get back to the pier, and people are stampeding down the pier. And the first thing I'm thinking is that, yeah, there's a shooting. So I told the person that was driving, Nick, it's like, Nick, get the boat out of here, man. Get the boat away from here. So, we pulled away from Navy Pier and just kind of went out, because I didn't want what I thought could happen. I thought there could be like bullets flying toward the boat. And of course, I'm responsible for the people that are on the boat. So I don't want no shit like that to go down. I told the passenger, everybody get down. So I had like 100 and I don't remember exactly how many people on the boat. I mean, it was a fireworks tour on the 4th of July. I kind of want to say maybe 170, but I don't remember exactly. It was over 100 people aboard the vessel. I could probably ask a friend to look in the logbook and find that information out. But I had all these people, as we're pulling away from Navy Pier, we had all these people like get down to the deck. I mean, families, kids, and everything, and all these people getting down on the deck, and they laying down, and I'm not laying down because I'm trying to like talk to the captain that was driving and make sure the passengers are okay and everything. And we pull the boat away from Navy Pier. We out on the lake, and I'm in communication with CPD, who are at Navy Pier, to respond to the disturbance, to the situation. I had never seen no shit like that before. I done seen some shit in my life, but I'd never seen no shit like the stampede I saw that night. And I very much appreciate the fact that I was able to be in communication with the police officers, for them to let us know when it was safe to come back to the pier to bring the passengers back. And I had personally talked to some of those passengers. I had someone come up to me and say, "Hey man, these kids crying over here. Can you go talk to them?" So I went and talked to the kids and their parents, and I, say, "Hey, everything's gonna be okay. We're just out here. We're waiting on the police to let me know when it's okay, and we're gonna take the boat back to the pier so y'all can go home and everything." Because I was considering that maybe we might have to lock through and maybe take the boat to Michigan Avenue, to drop the passengers off safely there. But I was in communication with the CPD, and I appreciated that very much so. So when they let me know it was safe to bring the boat back to Navy Pier, brought the boat back to Navy Pier. And I very much commend the CPD for what they did that night, in restoring, in I mean, because the shit was crazy. People left shoes and strollers and purses and shit. That shit was strewn all over fucking like Navy Pier. You know what I'm saying? It was like what the fuck happened? Because people were like thought they had to run for their lives. I've witnessed police officers save people out the river. I've had cops that have taken it easy on me when I've had issues on my plates or something like that. And instead of like taking me in or whatever, they just, hey man, get this shit taken care of, So I'm never gonna be on here and saying that every individual police officer is somebody that I need to treat with like, condemnation or whatever. I treat police officers as humans on an individual basis. And I commend them for the heroism that they do display. When I went to the Laquan McDonald protest some years ago down on Michigan Avenue on a Black Friday, I usually go to like the big protests. I don't take no signs. I don't make no signs. I ain't one of those people that's like chanting and all that. I ain't really into that. But I feel like there are situations that can happen in a society where the people need to gather to show how frustrated or and angry they are about some shit that goes down. I was pissed off about the Laquan McDonald shit. So yeah, I was down there for the protest on Michigan Avenue, and it was cool to see all the other groups that were there in solidarity with black people. Excuse me. It wasn't just black people down there, and many of these protests, it's not just black folks. It's all kind of people that are there. So I'm down there for the Laquan McDonald protest on Black Friday, whatever year that was. Somebody, I don't know if somebody can comment about it or whatever. Because I feel like when the people gather, sometimes we should gather, to show our displeasure and the shit that's going down. But when people start talking about, hey man, we finna block the store so people can't come up here and shop and all this kind of stuff, man, I wasn't with none of that. I understand, I understand how historically people have done different kinds of things to protest and whatever to show, you know what I'm saying, and different things that works. But I ain't with fucking with normal people, regular people that's trying to shop. You know what I'm saying? I understand maybe like trying to make a statement or whatever, but that wasn't a statement I was trying to make at that particular time. So when the energy was kind of changing at the protest, I was kind of like, all right, I've been down here a while. I made my point, I ran into a cousin down there. We took a photo together. So I wasn't a selfie. I know, I don't really do selfies when I go to protests and shit like that. I ain't about that. I'm not interested in gaining any fucking social media capital from posting pictures of me at protests. I mean, in a way, I guess I stroke my ego by posting other kinds of shit, on social media to get social media capital. But I ain't into like taking pictures of myself at protests and shit. So on the way home, when the energy was changing, I'm like, I ain't with this shit. I ain't with trying to block families from shopping or whatever, whatever. I understand, but I'm going home. So on the way home, I see a line of cops on the street. And one of them looked like, I don't remember exactly, but I know that at least one of them was black, a couple of them. Maybe I saw might have been like 5 cops that were gathered together at this one spot on the side of the street. Because, police, they have to be down there to, they're following orders, so they have to be down there to watch people fucking exercise their constitutional right to gather and protest and shit. So I know it's not fucking pleasant for the police officers to be there. So when I see the cops, I'm like, hey man, y'all be safe out here. You know what I'm saying? I don't wish no ill on nobody, you know what I'm saying, who don't deserve it. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I understand the difficulty it is in being a police officer, especially being a black police officer and having all this the fucking shit you're thinking maybe about your people and your job and your boys on the force and everything, and I can understand some of the conflict that they might go through. And I got some other stuff to say that I'm finna get to in a second. But before I say all that, I just wanted to say some of this. Like I said, I have witnessed heroism on display by police officers. I've pulled people out of the river, not driving the boat, and my crew pulled people out of the river before. So and I've coordinated with police officers who've come to the boat to get the person that was drowning from our boat, and we transfer them to the marine police vessel. And so I have positive things to say about police officers and the work they do. So the Laquan McDonald protest, I'm on the way home. I see the cops lined up. One of them looked like he might have been in charge, and he was a black guy. Like I said, I told him, hey, man, y'all be safe out here, and that's how I sincerely felt. I'm man, I'm all for this peace shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there we go. By default, I would say I'm a pacifist by default. But I feel like something is being lost in all this. I see people kind of like, I just see people online acting like we can't say shit about the bad shit that police officers do and have done historically. Policing in the United States evolved from fucking slave patrols. Like literally. So and then after slavery, Jim Crow, segregation and shit, to the point where, and then when that ended, when they wanted to start to integrate in the schools and shit, police officers had to escort the black girl into the school because of the crowd standing around, racist ass motherfuckers throwing fucking tomatoes and shit at the fucking cops and the little girl, the black girl, because they finally said no, black kids can go to some of these white schools and shit. And well, that was in the 60s, and that little girl, she's still alive. That wasn't even 100 years ago. This person is still here. Ruby, man, I can't remember the last name. And I need to plug up my laptop real quick before it die. So yeah, in that case, police officers had to escort this little girl into the school. But what I'm saying is, racism has been in here, in this country, for hundreds of years. Racism is a major factor in the origins of this fucking United States of America. And it's changed. Yeah, from slavery, after slavery, you had Jim Crow, so it changed, but it was still fucked up. The segregation shit was still fucked up. I maintain, like I said, even in saying that I've witnessed heroism on display by police officers, I appreciate all that shit. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the positive interactions I've had with police officers, but I still maintain there's never been a sustained period within the United States of America that the institution of policing hasn't been used to enforce racism in this country. And I'm still waiting on somebody to tell me at what point the institution of policing was stopped being used to enforce racism. J. Edgar Hoover, in charge of the FBI and COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program that was spying on Dr. King and the Black Panther Party and a lot of these other groups,
he was able to use the resources of the FBI and coordinate with the Chicago Police Department to murder Fred Hampton in 1969, I believe. So that was a case of our government using its own resources to assassinate some of its own citizens. Fred Hampton and was it Mark Clark, I believe, was the Panther that was killed. Fred Hampton's girlfriend was in the bed with him, pregnant with his child, Fred Hampton Jr., who is alive right now. He's just a few years older than me. In the 80s, the Philadelphia Police Department dropped a bomb in a residential area and killed adults and children, and let the fire spread to other homes on the block because the police had beef with the MOVE organization. So to get rid of the MOVE organization, they dropped a bomb on a residential neighborhood and killed children. And then, you know, I'm old, so I don't remember all the details of all these cases, but I did just watch a video recently about that. And I think they pretty much let the fire burn for a while before the fire department came in. You know? So, like, at what point can someone tell me that the institution of policing was stopped being used to enforce racism? And ain't nobody really like told me nothing like that yet. You know what I'm saying? I hear people saying, like, justifying all these killings of unarmed people, all these killings of cops just rolling up. They just rolled up and shot Tamir Rice. He's 12 years old, playing with a toy gun in a state where people were allowed to have guns. And what was the name of the young man that had a gun in a store that sold guns? And someone in the store, I just saw his name. I just saw some last night with his name. Someone in the store called the cops on this man that had a gun in a store that sold guns. He wasn't threatening anybody with it. And the police officers responded, and this man wound up dead. Tamir Rice in a fucking park, police rolled up, instantly shot him. It's like, I understand the difficult choice that these police officers have to make sometimes, because, I mean, I'm telling you, hey, at default, you know, I'm a pacifist, but, hey, you know, in certain situations, depending on what's going on, you know, you got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? So I totally fucking understand that. But when all, you know, but people, even in cases where it's not police officers, I feel like people, and I'm trying to get my thoughts together, you know, this is raw emotion and shit, so everything ain't gonna come out necessarily eloquent and everything. Trayvon Martin, killed by George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman wasn't even a cop. He was like neighborhood watch or some shit like that. Dispatch, he called and said something about Trayvon, you know, you see this suspicious kid or whatever. Dispatch told him to stand down. They told Zimmerman to stand down. Well, he wound up approaching Trayvon Martin. Zimmerman had a gun on him. Trayvon Martin winds up dead, and people treated Zimmerman like a hero. People donated to Zimmerman's legal fund. But nobody ever said shit of what Trayvon Martin maybe did to deserve this grown man stepping to him, and then Trayvon Martin winding up dead. People say, oh, well, Trayvon Martin was beating him up, so he had the right to defend himself and kill Trayvon Martin. He had the right to stand his ground. Zimmerman had the right to stand his ground against this kid And Zimmerman was the one that stepped to the kid with the gun. What the fuck kind of shit is that? To me, it's like, well, shouldn't Trayvon have the right to stand his ground against this grown-ass man and step to him with a gun? You know, I had a roommate at the time that shit was going on. You know, white boy. My first, like, roommate experience. I don't never want to do that shit again. Well, being roommates with people you don't, like, know previously. I mean, I don't want roommates at all, but especially not with people you don't really know previously. So my white roommate, for some reason, all this shit going on, the fallout from the Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin shit, he didn't know nothing about this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's white privilege. You know what I'm saying? When you ain't got to be concerned about this kind of shit, and you could just, you know, go and hang out at the bars and whatever, snort your cocaine and all that. Ain't nobody fucking with you or whatever. So I was, you know, I was kind of surprised that he didn't know about it. So I was speaking to, you know, trying to recount what I knew of the Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin shit. So I explained it to him and everything. And his response was he polite? As in, was Trayvon Martin polite? Like black folks, like this black teenager, he's supposed to be polite when this fucking grown-ass dude with a gun steps to him to treat him like he doing something wrong, and he's supposed to be polite, and he the one that winds up dead. But people treat Zimmerman like a fucking hero. They treated him like a fucking hero. When Barack Obama got on TV in the day or the days after that, because if I remember correctly, they didn't even try to get in contact with Trayvon Martin's family. I believe that his body laid up in the morgue for like 3 days or something like that before the family actually, you know, really found out what the fuck was going on. And someone can correct me on that if I got that wrong at all. But that's how I seem to remember it. And that shows you, you know, they don't place no value on fucking black people. Excuse me. Barack Obama gets on TV, and one of the things that he said is that if he had a son, his son would look like Trayvon. And when Barack said that, that shit hit me. Because I thought about my son, who wore fucking hoodies. Black hoodies. I got on a fucking black hoodie right now. I thought about my son and how he looks like Trayvon Martin. So I'm not here to talk about, to bash or praise Obama or whatever. I ain't trying to get into all that shit, you know, right now or whatever. But me as a black man, there's finally a black president that can, you know, sometimes say some shit that I can actually relate to. And fucking Republicans went crazy on that shit, trying to say that Barack Obama was trying to politicize the issue by saying some shit that a lot of black parents could actually identify with. I, as a black parent, could identify when Barack Obama said that if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon, because I instantly thought of my own fucking son who wore fucking hoodies, and how someone could look at him like a fucking threat just because he wearing a fucking hoodie, and look at him like he's a thug or whatever, the same way they vilified Trayvon Martin. And you had white Republicans. Oh, Obama's trying to politicize the issue. He's taking sides in the issue. So in a case where a fucking adult man, and I don't remember the exact ethnicity of Zimmerman. I don't think he was just like 100% white or whatever like that. But so, you know, someone can let me know if they know exactly. But a grown adult man can just see a black kid walking down the street, and he can approach the kid with a gun, even though dispatch told him to stand down. The kid winds up dead, and this grown-ass man with the gun is the hero. He's the one that, oh, he's the victim. People acting like fucking Zimmerman was the fucking victim. Now, not me, as a fucking working, tax-paying citizen, I had a right to look at some shit, call out, be like, no, man, that's some bullshit. Fuck that shit. That's some bullshit. But, all right, so I was speaking earlier about, you know, slave patrol, Jim Crow, you know, all that shit, you know, segregation, fucking, all right, check it out, y'all. We talk about justice and shit in this country, right? 1919, Chicago, race riots. If you don't know about that shit, go look it up. Because I'm starting to realize I don't know everything. I don't know everything. But a lot of y'all motherfuckers don't know a lot of shit that black folks know about and that we talk about and shit. You know? 1919, Eugene Williams, I believe was his name, the young man, was swimming in a part. He was swimming in an area, I guess, that black people weren't supposed to be in. So a bunch of white folks started throwing rocks and shit at him, if I got it correctly. He winds up drowning, and it sets off like a race war for a little while in Chicago. I don't believe anybody ever served any fucking time for the murder of this young man. Emmett Till, who's from Chicago, was killed by two white men because I think was it one of them his wife, I believe. She said that Emmett Till was like basically flirting with her. And she told her dude, and he got his other dude, and they went and found Emmett Till, I believe, later that evening, and basically took him from where he was staying at, and they wound up killing him. Neither one of those dudes served any fucking time for Emmett Till's murder. And then one of them did an interview, I believe, with I think it was Look magazine, and y'all can look this shit up yourself. I don't remember all the fucking details exactly, but you can look this shit up your damn self. So I believe it was an interview with Look magazine that one of them did, and he basically admitted that he killed Emmett Till. And they never served any fucking time for that shit. And then the lady, the white woman, she admitted years later that what she initially said wasn't even fucking true. So no fucking justice. So white folks have been allowed to kill black people without any kind of fucking punishment for a long ass time in this fucking country. So maybe in the last couple of decades, few decades, maybe in some of these cases, some people, there's starting to be some fucking accountability. But historically, within the United States of America, black people's lives have not fucking mattered. So for anybody to try to fucking act like today that shit didn't happen, and to try to treat some of this shit that's going on now like yes, these things, some of these things that are happening now are isolated events when you look at them, I guess, individually, but to not look at them within the context of a country where fucking black people were enslaved, where black people weren't allowed to fucking read or fucking go to school or own fucking property or fucking go to school with white folks when they were allowed to go to school or live in the fucking good neighborhoods. Like, for people to act like, to just gloss over that shit, that's some bullshit. That's some straight up bullshit. The government has been allowed to use resources to fucking fuck with black people, as in the case with J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI and COINTELPRO and fucking spying on all the fucking black leaders to prevent the rise of a black messiah. And this shit, this isn't fucking FBI documents that you could go fucking look at on FBI.gov and download the shit and read. I mean, a lot of it's redacted and shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's enough where you can fucking see basically how the fucking government fucked with the black liberation movements, the original BLM, you know what I'm saying? And fuck with them and fucking pit the fucking leaders of these different groups against each other and put fucking spies in to infiltrate these groups like they did with Fred Hampton. And in the case of Fred Hampton and Mark Clark, I believe the other dude's name was, I believe Cook County, the city of Chicago, and the United States of America, they lost a fucking civil court case like 13 years later after Fred Hampton and Clark were killed and had to pay out like, I think it was like $1.8 million to the families. So there have been judgments against the fucking government in a lot of this shit. I believe, and I might have to go and look this shit. I believe there was like a civil case or something brought against some governmental entity for the killing of Martin Luther King that was awarded in favor of King's family. That's something, like I said, y'all can go look up. Some of this stuff I know a little bit more the details of, and some of this other stuff, you know, I forget a lot of shit because there's so much fucking shit that's going down. It's hard to fucking keep up with it. It's hard to keep up with all the fucking names. Tamir Rice, Michael Brown, fucking Eric Garner choked to death by like what, 4 or 5 police officers because they suspected him of selling loose cigarettes. So the police are allowed to fucking kill a man while he begs for his life and says that I can't breathe. They're allowed to kill this man because he was suspected of selling loose cigarettes. No, y'all been acting like black lives don't fucking matter. And speaking of Black Lives Matter, you know, some of y'all racist ass motherfuckers, and when I say racist ass motherfuckers, I'm including people that might not think of themselves as racist, but they sympathize with the racist causes and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm lumping y'all in with the racists too, you know? Motherfuckers. There is Black Lives Matter, the organizations that use that name officially for the name of their organizations. And then there's Black Lives Matter, the movement, the hashtag. The organizations that use Black Lives Matter as their name represent a fucking fraction of the overall fucking global Black Lives Matter movement. So some of y'all need to understand that fucking distinction first off jump. So I'm not a member of any organization that uses Black Lives Matter in their name. I'm just a motherfucking regular person that knows some of the history, the fucked up history of shit that's going down in this country, and how the many times over it has been proven that it seems like that black lives don't actually fucking matter. So if I say Black Lives Matter, or if I fucking use the hashtag Black Lives Matter, or if anybody, most motherfuckers use the hashtag Black Lives Matter, or they make a sign and go to a protest that says Black Lives Matter, that does not mean that they are officially part of an organization that uses the name Black Lives Matter. Understand the fucking difference. I don't know enough about the organizations that use the name Black Lives Matter to really speak on what they doing or what they not doing. I've heard different things or whatever. I don't know about that. But I'm simply saying that Black Lives Matter. So if I say that Black Lives Matter, if I just say that fucking statement, and if somebody chooses to respond with that, with some fucking negativity or some fucking all lives matter bullshit, yeah, all lives do fucking matter, but within the context of the history of all the fucked up shit that has happened within this country that has been perpetrated upon black people by fucking racist white folks, by fucking the police officers all over the fucking country. Yes, we need to fucking emphasize that Black Lives Matter. And here's a thought I had a while back, how I'm starting to look at it. When people, if I say Black Lives Matter, and I just say that, and I put that out there into the ether, you know what I'm saying? Black Lives Matter. If somebody responds to that with any kind of fucking negativity or whatever, because a lot of times you get people that like instantly respond. Oh. I think, or I suspect that knee-jerk response to kind of discredit the term Black Lives Matter, I think that's the racism just kind of like just reacting. The racism that they might not even know they fucking really have. The racism that's like intrinsically inside of them. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to think this shit is an actual like sickness, and it ain't even like a intellectual or philosophical thing. I feel like it's an actual fucking like sickness. So if I say that Black Lives Matter and someone like, what are you talking about? Like they feel the need to just interrupt and just instantly like say some shit, that's racism. You know what I'm saying? That's racism right there. They can't even let the term Black Lives Matter linger in the air for a little bit. I will admit, I am not the most enlightened person when it comes to issues maybe regarding like the LGBTQ community or more specifically maybe the trans community. I'm not as maybe enlightened and educated on all of those things, and I would hope a lot of these things I feel like I'm trying to evolve in my understanding of. And one of the things I'm realizing when the LGBTQ community, when they're talking about the shit that they have to suffer through and that they still going through, I've kind of realized that my job is to kind of like just shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. When it's time for them to have a moment to kind of talk about their fucking issues and all that, because their issues need to be fucking addressed and all that, my job is to shut the fuck up, listen, and, if I think I can do something to help their cause or whatever, or even just better understand their cause, I feel like that's my job. So when black folks talking about they shit, about the actual history of shit that's going down in this country, motherfuckers they ain't aware of this shit, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Because obviously you ain't educated enough to even participate in the fucking conversation about the fucked up shit that has happened historically to black people in this country over fucking centuries. You trying to come to the debate with like nothing to fucking offer except your fucking hatred and ignorance. You coming to the party without a bottle to contribute for everybody to drink from. So if you don't know, so when people talk about the history of police fucking with black people, if you don't know about the fucking MOVE shit, the Philadelphia Police Department dropping a fucking bomb on a fucking neighborhood and killing kids, if you don't know about this shit, if you don't know about J. Edgar Hoover using the FBI and the Chicago Police Department to kill Fred Hampton, if you don't know about this shit, if you ain't aware of this shit, if you ain't aware of how historically white people have been allowed to kill black people, lynch black people, beat them up, throw them in a fucking body of water and shit. If you're not aware of this shit, shut the fuck up. You ain't got nothing to fucking offer me. You ain't got nothing to fucking offer to the fucking conversation except your hatred and your ignorance. For people to act like cops ain't out here being fucking bullies, fucking with minority community. And can we get rid of this fucking word minority? You see the programming, you know what I'm saying? How they've used these words to kind of like keep you in fucking place. Because a lot of us understand that some of this fucking rise in white nationalism and all this shit is a fucking reaction to how, you know, the minority groups are increasing in number within the country. And, you know, maybe half a century from now, you know, maybe white folks are going to be the minority in this country. And, you know, I spoke earlier about how, yeah, I've witnessed acts of heroism by police officers, and I've had positive interactions with police officers. Like I said, I felt like I didn't know if I had to say that, but, you know, I felt like I wanted to get that out there so there ain't no fucking confusion about that. Like I said, at the Laquan McDonald protest, when people started talking about blocking shoppers from getting into the stores and all that shit, I wasn't with none of that. I ain't with that energy, you know what I'm saying? Well, I wasn't with that energy at that particular time, and I might piggyback on that in a second, but like, when I saw the cops lined up on the street, I know they don't want to fucking be there. I told them cops, hey man, y'all be safe out here. You know what I'm saying? I overheard a conversation a couple of weeks ago with a cop kind of talking about, yeah, you know, man, yeah, we got mandatory overtime coming up, and yeah, you know what I'm saying? Man, I'm sure some of the cops might, you know, be okay with making the extra money, but I'm sure some of them would rather be at fucking home. The last fucking thing we need is fucking overstressed police officers that have to mandatorily be out there for 12 hours or not have any fucking days off to respond to fucking people gathering, exercising their constitutional rights. So I don't know about this fucking idea of making cops be out there to the point where they overstressed and all that kind of shit. That's some stupid ass shit. I know what it's like to work fucking 12 hours. That shit ain't fun. You don't make your best decisions when you working all the fucking goddamn time. So when police officers who carry fucking lethal weapons and shit are being forced to work overtime or work every fucking day, that ain't some smart shit to me. That's some stupid ass shit to me. Now, if some cops want to speak about it, about how they actually feel about it, I'm willing to listen to that. You know what I'm saying? But for me, from the outside looking in, having cops work fucking 12-hour shifts or not have fucking days off, but be on standby, ready to respond if some shit go down while people exercising their constitutional rights, to me, that's like fucking adding fucking fuel to fucking a fire and shit. You know what I'm saying? All right, on this whole thing of protests, you know, last year we had all these fucking protests, everything around the fucking world. Around the fucking world. So that's the thing to trip me out too. Racist ass motherfuckers in this goddamn country who can't see some of the bullshit when white folks in countries on the other fucking side of the world see the fucking bullshit. That just shows you how deeply interwoven fucking racism is within the fucking United States of America. a lot of those protests last year. First of all, you know, I saw some. I was watching somebody yesterday. They were speaking on the differences between protests, rioting, and looting, because those are three different things, but they're not talked about like they are three different things. Protesting is, you know, people gathering and shit. And I can't quote the fucking Constitution verbatim, but people gathering to exercise their constitutional right in protest. You know, that's one thing. Rioting is more like uh, 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 almost like an emotional response to some fucked up shit, and people feel like they have to make a statement because maybe the people haven't, they're not being heard, and they haven't been heard for decades or fucking centuries. This frustration that a lot of people are kind of like letting y'all see now. This shit ain't just because of George Floyd. This shit been building up for fucking decades, centuries. Cause I feel like white folks don't know. And see, when I say white folks, and that's kind of something I want to say, I feel like all black people and a lot of white folks understand that when black folks use the term white folks, and when they talk about the white man or whatever, we not talking about white folks on the whole. Now, there are some black people that are talking about white folks on the whole. There's some black folks that don't want shit to do with no white folks. You know? Because here's a surprise for y'all racists and shit. We don't all fucking feel the same exact way on all of these fucking issues. You know? Just like white folks and police officers and every other fucking demographic or whatever, we are individuals. I am an individual. I think for my fucking self. Of course, yeah, I'm subjected to fucking programming and shit, so there might be some things that have like influenced me, or there might be things I feel that are more in accord with what a lot of black folks feel on a lot of this shit, but I'm an individual. So all black people don't feel the same about this shit. Everybody that's saying Black Lives Matter don't feel the exact same on a lot of these fucking issues. So when I say white folks, and when we talk about the white man, I myself am not talking about white folks on the whole, white people on the whole, or whatever. But I think a lot of y'all already understand that. But I think some other people that needs to be fucking specified for. So even when I talk about police officers, see, when I talk about police, the institution of policing, that's a whole different fucking thing. You know, I fucking pay taxes and shit. You know what I'm saying? So the institution of policing, these they're paid public servants. They're supposed to serve the public, serve and protect. These motherfuckers, they get paid and have pensions and shit. I feel like in that case, it is necessary to kind of lump all of policing together. And I tell you why I feel that way. Because if the institution of policing isn't serious about getting rid of the criminals within its own organizations, then that's a stain on the whole fucking institution of policing. Especially within the context of living in a country where policing evolved from slave patrol, where the government has used police resources to assassinate black leaders, to fuck with black people. That's all committed within the institution of policing. You know, so when you talk about your fucking blue line and all this shit and all this pride, hey, like I was saying earlier, I'm a fucking United States Coast Guard licensed fucking boat captain. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud of that shit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't in the military, but you know, I'm fucking proud of it. I'm a kid from the fucking projects. You know what I'm saying? So for me to have a career where I'm a fucking captain, I got a fucking license and shit, I'm proud of that shit. You know what I'm saying, man? I can fucking drive these boats and I'm fucking, man, I'm proud of that shit. So in a way, I can understand how someone that, man, they might be proud to be a police officer. I understand that. But in your pride in being a police officer in this occupation that you have chosen to take up, with that whatever oath that you swore, if your institution isn't serious about getting rid of the motherfucking bad apples within your institution, that's a stain on all y'all. Because y'all motherfuckers getting paid. Y'all motherfuckers supposed to be fucking arresting criminals. Y'all should be fucking trying to find criminal cops with the same fucking energy and intensity as when y'all run up in these fucking hoods and shit. How many wars has our country been engaged in? We could send our military, the most expensive ass military on the fucking face of the earth by far. We send our military to the other side of the motherfucking world. Destabilize whole fucking regimes and shit. And rebuild that shit. We could do all that shit. All the fucking money we spend on military to send to the other motherfucking side of the motherfucking planet. You don't think if they really wanted to get rid of the guns and drugs on the street that they could? See, a lot of black folks are aware of the role that the government has played in guns and drugs being put into the fucking hoods. Whether by elements within the government actively helping facilitate that, or just turning a motherfucking, a blind eye away from the shit. You don't think we live in motherfucking Chicago. We live in Chicago. All the fucking money the cops get, all this shit within this country, you don't think they could stop drugs from getting here if they really fucking wanted to? And see, but that shows the fucking ignorance of people that don't know that don't know the fucking role that elements within the fucking government have played to basically help make the fucking crack epidemic what it was. So if you're not aware of none of this shit, you can't be coming up in a conversation with your ignorance. And I might give you some tidbits and some details on some of this shit. But if you really fucking cared, if you were a police officer that really fucking cared, you would understand. You would understand why people are frustrated. You would understand why there is this reaction every time now a police officer kills a citizen. Because people are fed up. They're tired. Excuse me. But y'all don't give a fuck. And that's basically it. Y'all don't give a fuck. It has become the norm now for people to respond so when people protest against police brutality, against police killing unarmed people, or police maybe using lethal force in circumstances where maybe they could have did something else. Now, as I said earlier, I'm not a police officer, and I understand the difficulty of their job. But y'all motherfuckers chose to accept that job and the responsibility that comes with it. So in taking upon that responsibility, y'all motherfuckers need to be educated about all the fucked up shit that has happened in the name of fucking policing in the history of this fucking country. Because then you would understand why people are fucking fed up. But you don't give a fuck. You don't care. So when people bring up the violence in Chicago, like, oh, well, how come they not protesting this? Oh, why they protesting police brutality, but they not protesting this? I'm a motherfucking taxpayer. So if the motherfuckers that took an oath to serve and protect the communities are on some fucking bullshit, that shit needs to be instantly called out, investigated, addressed, and there needs to be fucking accountability. If a fucking gangbanger shoots a little girl and he's fucking arrested, you don't see black folks in mass out here talking about Frida's motherfucker. It's people in these hoods that's fucking scared. They scared of the gangs and they scared of the fucking cops. But y'all don't know that feeling. Y'all don't know that feeling. Because historically, everything in this fucking country, every fucking thing in this country has been fucking set up for the benefit and the privilege of the colonizer. The fucking national anthem was written by a slave owner. The national anthem advocates the side of a war that wanted to keep people enslaved. But y'all don't give a fuck. Y'all don't give a fuck. Y'all love y'all colonizer shit. And y'all just want black folks to just take it. Y'all love y'all colonizing racist ass statues. You love your colonizer racist ass currency with the faces of dead slave owners on it. You love your colonizing fucking flag that in no way honors the indigenous people that were here before the colonizers came over here and took this shit. The flag does nothing. There's nothing in the motherfucking flag that honors the indigenous people that were here before us. There's nothing in the motherfucking flag that honors the fucking sacrifices that fucking black folks have made to fucking build this shit. Nah, you got your 13 fucking stripes to represent the original colonies and your 50 fucking stars and shit. All this shit are the symbols of the motherfucking colonizer. But black folks just supposed to stand up for the motherfucking anthem, right? Put their hands over their heart to fucking go along with your fucking colonizing anthem, huh? With your colonizer flag. And that's the difficulty of being a black person in this country. Because here's kind of, if any of y'all have seen, like, some of my performances or videos or whatever, the flag is something I kind of keep going back to in my work. Whether it's just the American flag itself, me holding it up or having it behind me, or maybe it's a backdrop that was created by my friend Sarah P. Convery, who I've collaborated with many times. white woman that's a few years older than me. We come from totally different fucking backgrounds. But we can fucking come together to present some fucking art to talk about all this bullshit. So I don't never want to hear nobody saying some shit that Kenya, K.O. Razin is hateful, white people. You know, some of y'all know shit. It seemed like I've dated more white girls the last few years than anything else. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no problems with nobody. It ain't a conscious fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? We people out here in this world trying to do the fucking best we can do. So I ain't mad at all white folks. I ain't mad at all cops. But I'm mad at the institution of policing. And maybe I'll be more ready to have this fucking reverence and shit for police officers and the military and all this fucking shit if I ever felt like they actually fucking gave a damn about the communities. Because it really don't seem like that. So it's complicated being a black man in America. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm proud to be an American. That's some crazy shit, ain't it? That's some crazy shit, ain't it? But here's something I realized though. I'm what America is. I'm what America is. I represent more, and you know, maybe I'm gonna stroke my ego a little bit right here. I represent more of what America fucking should be. This is my country. This is my shit. So yes, I'm proud to be an American. And until we fucking pick another flag, that's my motherfucking flag. That's mine. This is my shit. This is my country. This black folk country. This is our shit. This indigenous country. This immigrant country. This is our shit. And that's what they scared of. That's what these white motherfuckers, that's what these white racist motherfuckers scared of. And they're racists that ain't even white. You got your Mexican racists that's just going along with all the bullshit. You got some black folks that's going along with all the bullshit. So you ain't got to be a white person to be racist. You got your racist sympathizers in every motherfucking demographic. Amin Rod just said a black woman designed the flag. Betsy Ross, was she a black woman? See, I don't know everything, and I admit that any motherfucking time. I don't know fucking everything, but I'm willing to shut the fuck up sometimes and learn. But a lot of these racists, they won't shut the fuck up. They don't want to learn. They don't even care to want to learn. They don't give a fuck. They okay with us seeing videos of black people being killed over and over and over and over and over. They cool with all that shit. That don't bother them at all. And like I said earlier, hey man, whew. Shit, I ain't trying to be no police officer. That ain't me. That ain't my energy. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that responsibility. I don't want the responsibility of fucking choosing my life over the life of some fucking teenage kid that grew up in a motherfucking hood, that grew up in a fucking neighborhood that you know, suffered from all this fucking socio-economic shit that ain't been addressed, that the fucking community, people in the community been begging for years. Help us out. Please. Help us out. Can our schools get some of the same shit these other schools get? See, last year when all the protests and shit were going down, y'all saw what they let people tear up. Y'all saw what our city politicians and what our police department let people tear up. They let people run all through the fucking loop. But they made sure that nobody got to fucking Trump Tower. They made sure that people ain't fuck with shit north of the river. Raised them fucking bridges. They made sure there ain't nobody fuck with the Aqua building. All that shit. They let people run through the fucking loop and tear up the fucking businesses and shit. They let people tear up shit in the hood. But they made damn sure nobody got the Trump Tower. I was working right down there every motherfucking day. You know, once I went back to work, you know, they kept them bridges up all motherfucking day. Fucking most of the time the bell ringing all motherfucking day. We driving bridges all down the river. Fucking bell ringing, all fucking day. They made sure to control what people tore the fuck up. Yeah, Kat just said they need to invest in mental health resources and free help to start addressing this. Definitely. People been speaking on that for years. The community been speaking on all this shit, asking for fucking help. So last year seemed to change a lot of stuff in the city, in the fucking country, in the world. It seemed to be like a turning point in the way we're kind of talking about a lot of these issues. You know, I spoke earlier about, you know, I've had positive interactions with police officers and I've witnessed heroism on display by police officers. But I've had some fucked up interactions with police officers as well. A few weeks ago, I had this feeling that was new for me. Now, all my life, I knew about police brutality and how historically the police have been used to enforce racism and fuck with black folks. You know, like I ain't here to explain y'all the fucking history of some shit y'all can, you know, go and look up for yourself, you know. When I say y'all, when I say I ain't finna explain shit, I ain't explaining shit to no racists, really. You know, sometime I might give them a little something. You know, I've been commenting on some posts and shit, kind of saying a little something because I'm sick of seeing people just say what the fuck they want to say. So I feel the need to call this shit out. But a few weeks ago, I had this new kind of feeling that I never had before. So even though I'm 46 years old, so even though I always knew about how police officers have been fucking with black folks for years, I never really had that fear. I would say I never really had that fear of police officers like that. You know, because when you grow up in a, you know, I don't know if this is true for everybody, but for me, and I'm not even trying to say this like I'm some fucking tough guy. I'm 117 pounds, or maybe a little bit more. I ain't never weighed no more than maybe 122 fucking pounds. So I ain't no tough guy, no shit like that, like that. I mean, I'm gonna stand up for my motherfucking self. But I ain't this fucking tough guy. You know what I'm saying? But I never really had that fear of police over my life. And I think some of that is, you grew up in the projects, man, our windows used to get fucking shot out, especially on like New Year's when people were like shooting their guns off and shit. We lived on the 11th floor in one building, the 9th floor in another building. Fucking, hey, I'm in the fucking room, maybe playing with my fucking Transformers and shit. Window shot out. Fucking stray bullet. Because people just busting them on New Year's. Or you got a gang from one fucking building in Stateway shooting at the gangs to stay in the other fucking building that's right fucking next to it. And, windows will get shot out. Shoot, my uncle has told me a couple of times about, in Stateway, there were the two buildings that were on State Street. And I believe those were the 9-story buildings. And then you had the 6 buildings that were on Federal. There were like 17 stories. And in between the buildings on State Street and the buildings on Federal, you had like, your field, you had like, some playgrounds and shit. You had like the CHA office in between State and Federal. You had some schools, Crispus Attucks on 39th was in between State and Federal. So when we lived in the buildings on Federal, you come downstairs. If we wanted to go to the stores on State Street, you walk through the field, through the playgrounds, you pass the 9-story buildings on the fucking west side of State Street, cross the street to go to the fucking store on the east side of State Street. My uncle has told me stories about how, like, maybe he was walking with me across the field, this kind of open field, and there would be fucking shootouts. And I think he told me one time about how he had me. I was little. I don't remember exactly what age I may have been, And he basically had to dive to the ground with me, because of all the fucking guns that people are shooting. When I lived in the projects, it was regular. Let's say we needed some eggs or some milk or some shit from the store. If they were shooting outside, it's like, all right, don't go to the store yet. They shooting. Stop shooting. All right, now we go to the store. Whether the whole family go or I run to the store or whatever, that was just fucking normal. We a lot of us became so fucking desensitized to it because the violence was just fucking so fucking normal. I think it was like 2010 or so. I was living in Hyde Park, but me and a couple of people late night, we went to the liquor store or one of the stores on 55th and State. I think we walked from Hyde Park to State Street late night. Maybe not the smartest idea, but I mean, it's my city. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the fucking projects. I grew up in the hood or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I lived around all this fucking violent shit. So I don't, I don't have that fear. In that regard, like I say, I'm not saying I'm a tough guy, but it's like, but it was like 2010. We went to the store, liquor store on 55th and State. We got some shit to drink, and we was going to bring it back to my crib in Hyde Park and drink or whatever. So we went to the store. We got what we was going to drink. And we were walking back east. And there was like a shootout. I think somebody, there was like kitty corner, started bussing. And like, so, we started running. Other people started running. So I ran into like, I think it was the parking lot of this church that was on 55th Street. And there was like a fence, like with the black bars, metal fence. And I remember maybe hearing like a bullet bounce off of one of the fucking poles in the fucking fence. So me running into that fucking parking lot or whatever that space wasn't really no fucking kind of safety because you got the space in between the fucking bars and shit. But one of the things I remember is that I didn't feel scared. I was just kind of responding and doing what the fuck you supposed to do when motherfuckers start busting you. Hey, you run for cover and shit. But I didn't feel the fear. And that kind of scared me. You know, that fucked with me for a while. That like in a fucking crossfire, I didn't feel the fear. But a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, for the first fucking time in my life, I felt some actual fucking fear of police. Because, and not that I didn't understand it before, I understood it intellectually, but for the first time in my life, the fear of police made its way into my heart. As I realized that a cop could kill me, and there are people, my countrymen, who would say that I deserved it, no matter what the fucking circumstances were. And I felt this fear of police in a way that I never felt before. It's like a lot of this shit I already knew intellectually. A lot of anger, racism, all this shit. We already felt some of that shit, or felt it and knew it and whatever. But I never felt scared of the cops. But a couple of months ago, the fear actually started to make its way into my heart as I realized I'm not a perfect person. I'm not. And I made fucking mistakes. And I would like to think I'm much more enlightened on some things now than I was before. And I'd like to think that I'm trying to be a better person now than I was before in my life. But I will say confidently, a lot of y'all know me. Y'all know I ain't on no bullshit to the regard that a police officer would need to kill me. But now I'm scared. And when I felt that, it was real. And it was different than what I'd ever felt before. Because some of this shit is stages. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a kid, you hear about all this shit. My mom, my grandmother, and black folks grew up hearing about all this shit. About Emmett Till. We talk about all this shit. Chicago rappers talk about this shit. Part of 71st Street, this named after Emmett Till. D to the S, caps get peeled when you fuck with Till. Caps get peeled when you fuck with the Till. Niggas better chill or get bucked with the steel. Yeah, so the violence that's interwoven into this country has made its way into our fucking communities. But when people talk about violence in the communities, one of the things I will maintain, nobody in the motherfucking communities make no motherfucking gun. None of these motherfucking gangs make guns. And I've had issues with gangbangers. I've had fights. I've been jumped on. All kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? That's just almost part of the fucking rite of passage of being a fucking a black male in America. Just going through that shit. And if you survive that shit, You usually might not be scared of no other fucking shit. How am I gonna be scared of some shit when I didn't fucking run from fucking bullets, had my fucking windows shot out while I'm playing with toys, fought gangbangers, been jumped on in the street by gangbangers, jumped on in the school by gangbangers. So once you survive that shit, what the fuck I'm supposed to be scared of? But for the first time in my life, a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago or so, I felt a real fear of police that I had never felt before. When I think back to some of the shit that I had to deal with gangbangers, or circumstances where I thought some shit was gonna jump off with some gangbangers, I never really felt like scared. I usually felt like mad. Like, motherfucker, I ain't on no shit. Why you fucking with me, man? Why y'all, you know what I'm saying? So I would usually feel mad. You know what I'm saying? And I would usually try to contain my anger, but I felt like my face would kind of have to look. If any of y'all like seeing me mad, you know, there's a certain look I get on my face, like, so I get involved in these kind of situations with like these with these gangs or whatever, or maybe I'm somewhere that I ain't really as familiar with, and you don't know how motherfuckers gonna respond and react and treat you and shit. But I never really felt that fear in that way, especially once I, was a teenager, in my late teens. I wasn't scared. It was just kind of like, dude, why you fucking with me, man? Come on, dude. I ain't on this dude. I rap and read comic books, man. Leave me the fuck alone. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I always felt. I ain't say that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I valued my life, and I understood that, like, depending on the circumstance. So there were times where, yeah, I'd have to fight off some gangbangers, but there were other times I just kept my fucking mouth shut because I valued my life, and I felt like maybe if I said the wrong shit, that I wasn't gonna see it tomorrow. But I wasn't scared. But now I'm scared of cops, and I feel justified in that fear. It's gotten to the point, I'm here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I got a couple of more days on my vacation and everything, and people friendly and everything. I ain't seen too many black folks while I'm here, but seen a couple. But people been friendly. But last year, after the George Floyd shit, I kind of really started reevaluating. Maybe the white folks that were in my life, that I knew. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like, hey, shit, Because, I feel like black people, some of us, we might have white associates or friends, and maybe some of these issues never come up. And y'all have like a friendship or an acquaintanceship or whatever, but y'all never really talk about racism. So you never really get to understand exactly how they feel about some of this shit because y'all never like talk about it. Or like coworkers that you have pleasant interactions with, white coworkers and things like that. Y'all get along. Maybe if you go out after work, you know what I'm saying, y'all having a drink, y'all laughing it up together, whatever. But I started reevaluating a lot of shit. And, especially realizing that, like, some people I work with are some racist motherfuckers. I don't want to get into too many of the specifics of some shit, from last year at the job, but there was some shit where it was kind of like turned out that somebody that or you work with for some years, like, damn, this motherfucker racist, fuck, shit, and excuse me, and that kind of had to be addressed, I guess, in a way. I mean, there were other things along with the racism that had to be addressed with this particular person. And so the racism wasn't really the thing, but in addition to the other shit, the racism was part of it.
you know, to be considered in reevaluating people that you're around. And I will admit to now having a new type of maybe prejudice towards white folks I don't know. Because as we saw in this election, this previous election, and we've seen just even beyond the election, just the last few years, how okay people are with seeing videos of black people being shot and killed by police officers or fucking white vigilantes and shit. You know, in the case of Zimmerman when he killed Trayvon Martin, or in the case of Ahmaud Arbery when he was just killed by some white dudes that felt like they had the right to fucking hunt this black dude down in trucks and get out and kill him. You know, and seeing all the excuses that racists and racist sympathizers are making for unarmed black people being killed, you know, and starting to realize that, hey, man, you know, some of these motherfuckers I know, damn, they support this shit. They okay with this shit. Damn. You know what I'm saying? It's fucked up, man. It's really fucked up. And I feel like communities, what's happening is with the way people are reacting to a lot of the police killings nowadays, I feel like people don't give a fuck no more about what the circumstances are. They don't want police coming in their communities and killing anybody that live within their community. In the case of Adam Toledo, I saw a video where this guy basically said that the police officer that chased Adam Toledo, he basically said Adam Toledo would have had a better chance of living if he would have kept running. The police officer chased him, told him to stop, and when he stopped and dropped the gun, that's when he got shot. That kid would have had a better chance of living if he would have kept running. But he complied and was killed. So, you know, I don't live in the hood right now. You know, I live in Bucktown, which ain't nothing like fucking fancy or whatever. So you know what I'm saying. But you know, so I don't live in the hood currently. You know, as I did most of my life. But I kind of feel like the people within these communities, they don't want cops coming up in their communities killing nobody, gangbanger or otherwise, until we get the reform that we've been fucking asking for. You know, I feel like I done said most of what I feel like I needed to say this morning. And this you know, this cloudy morning here in Albuquerque. I'll be back to Chicago in a couple of days. You know, and get back to work on some things I'm working on. I'm working on, you know, some creative projects and stuff. And if y'all know me, y'all know that a lot of my art kind of talks about a lot of this shit. And I think this morning I just basically wanted to clarify some shit, my position on some shit. I ain't mad at all white folks. I ain't even mad at every fucking individual cop. But I'm mad at the institution of policing. And I'm upset that these so-called good cops ain't doing enough to get rid of the fucking bad cops. So until the good cops deal with the criminal cops in the same way that they run up in the hood
to deal with people in the hood, I don't feel like necessarily praising cops for their heroism and all that shit. Because as I said earlier, I have witnessed the heroism of police officers, and I've had positive interactions with cops. But I don't give a fuck about that right now. I ain't got no gun. Y'all got the guns. So check your boy. They got guns as well. Because y'all getting paid to protect us. So get your shit right. You so proud of your Blue Lives Matter and all that shit. Your flags with the fucking blue line and all that shit. I'm not telling you you shouldn't be proud. That ain't me. That ain't me to be here and tell other individuals what they should or shouldn't take pride in. But y'all ain't fucking doing enough to deal with the motherfucking criminal cops and the bullying ass cops and the fucking cops with ego trips and power trips within your own fucking organizations. Was it London a few weeks ago? I think the woman's name was Sarah Everard or something like that, I believe. She was kidnapped and murdered by a police officer. Now, eventually that cop was arrested. You know what I'm saying? So they weren't trying to cover that up or no shit like that. But a bunch of women got together to hold a vigil for the woman that was killed by a police officer, that was kidnapped and killed by a police officer. So a bunch of women got together to hold a vigil for the victim. The police force basically beat up the people that had gathered to hold the fucking vigil. Because one of their officers had murdered a woman. So it's kind of like, on a whole, when you get like 2 or 3 of them together, it's kind of like they don't know how to be shit else other than fucking bullies. So when y'all get that shit together, maybe the community would be ready to trust y'all motherfuckers, especially within the context of living within a country where policing has its origins in slave patrols, and police have been used historically to enforce racism. Because I feel like I really ain't seeing. I've seen a couple of police officers or former police officers talk about these things within the context of which I feel like these things need to be addressed. But until the institution of policing as a whole can come to terms with the fucked up historical shit that's going on, that has been carried out by police officers in this country, it's like y'all either ignorant of that shit or y'all don't give a fuck. Y'all just want people to lick y'all motherfucking boots and go about their motherfucking day while y'all just fuck with people. Fuck that. Fuck that. Y'all the motherfuckers getting paid with the guns. It's on y'all to earn the motherfucking community's respect. Y'all the motherfuckers got the responsibility of carrying around the weapons, and it's getting paid, and it's got pensions and shit. And when one of y'all fucking murders a motherfucker, like Derek Chauvin murdered George Floyd, one of the witnesses that the defense called to the stand, I don't remember his name, I'd have to look it up. I think he said he was paid $11,000 to do 60 hours of work in reviewing the case. And after he got paid his thousands of dollars to review the fucking case, his fucking position was Derek Chauvin didn't do a goddamn thing wrong while he let a fucking suspect in his custody die and beg for his life while he died. So we live in a motherfucking country where a motherfucker can make $11,000 and get that money is his. That's what he got paid to review the case, to come up with an opinion totally different from what the motherfucking verdict was. But we can't pay people $15 an hour. But this motherfucker can make $11,000 to review the fucking case for 60 hours and come up with an opinion completely opposite of what the verdict actually was. This shit's fucked up, y'all. It's fucked up in so many fucking levels. And I'll be ready to respect cops when they earn it. And I don't never want to hear nobody saying the KO telling people to fuck with cops or to fuck with white folks and no shit like that. But people going through some shit and feeling some shit, black people feeling some shit in a way that's different than I feel like what they've been feeling the last few decades. It's like it's been bubbling up, you know what I'm saying, and start to fucking boil over and shit. There's the fucking emotions and shit that we feeling. But everything I say, everything I do, even in my art where I'm calling this shit out with a lot of fucking vulgarity and shit, in my music and my poetry, everything I do, everything I say, I do it with love and in the hope that we can get past this bullshit. So we could come together as a nation, pick another fucking song to be our fucking anthem, eventually pick another motherfucking flag that is much more inclusive to make everybody truly feel included in my country, because this is my shit. I'm what America should be. And I feel like they need to let Amanda Gorman write a new fucking national anthem. I don't think I could do it without it being too fucking angry and shit. And I've talked to my daughter, one of my daughters, about it. How I've had, like, even before Amanda Gorman, the last few years, I've had like this kind of like dream of like maybe becoming like a poet laureate on some level. You know what I'm saying? And I've had like a fucking dream of maybe speaking at the White House one day. That's something I've actually like kind of like, yeah, I think I want to do that one day. But I don't think I'm emotionally ready to kind of write something that just focus, that's, oh, we need to come together and why, nah, cause I'm mad right now. I'm tired. And I gotta feel that. And the art I make has gotta be sincere. My art has to represent how I fucking actually feel. I got a song that I recorded recently that how I sincerely felt. But there was a particular line in the song that I felt like could be misinterpreted. And I made the decision. I talked with some people about it. Well, first of all, I already kind of was feeling a certain way about the line. And I had asked a friend of mine, I was like, hey man, am I putting out some evil if I say this particular thing? He's like, nah, man. He's like, I totally get what you're saying. And then I let another friend, check out the piece, and she loved it overall, the song and the video that I'm working on for it. But the only criticism she kind of had was about this one particular line, like the last line of the fucking second verse. You know, because she said she felt like it could be misinterpreted. So she brought up this one particular line that had already kind of been bothering me. And then I asked somebody else about it and got their opinion. And I made the decision to take it out. Because I don't want nobody fucking misinterpreting me at all. Or trying to tell me what the fuck my shit mean. You know, I got people telling me some of my poems are racist where I don't even fucking mention race. I got a poem that the last line is please take their guns away. And I had somebody comment and respond to that and say that was racist. What the fuck? I ain't mentioned nothing about race. I ain't even specify who guns I said take away from, you know. Need to be taken away from, you know. So I don't want nobody telling me what the fuck I mean and how the fuck I feel. So this morning I woke up and I want to talk about this shit and let y'all know I ain't telling people to fuck with cops. You know what I'm saying? I know cops got a fucking difficult ass job and shit. And I ain't trying to fucking tell people to hate white folks or whatever like that. You know, I ain't never been on some shit like that. But when it comes to when we talk about police and the institution of policing, and we talk about how these motherfuckers are paid to protect and serve, and they have the responsibility of carrying weapons that can kill members of the community that they have sworn an oath to serve and protect, y'all need to get y'all shit in check. Get your shit together. And that's, you know, and once again, everything I do, everything I say is with love. And I hope y'all have a beautiful day. And, you know, I'm going to enjoy a couple more days of my vacation. This vacation is my graduation present, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So I'm enjoying this shit. And I'll be back in Chicago in a couple of days. And, you know, I'm working on some shit I'll be letting y'all know about. And, you know, I love y'all, you know. Even some of y'all I don't disagree with, you know, I still got love for y'all in a way and hope that we can come to like some kind of accord at some point. But y'all gonna have to stop licking these fucking boots in order for that to happen. Hey y'all, this is Kenya. This is KO Razen. I love y'all. Y'all be cool. Yo, peace, y'all.